This is the market update. I am your host, Bill Noble. If you need a roadmap in crypto, subscribe to this channel. If you need to know why this market is down, subscribe to this channel. If you want to know when to buy, where to buy, and what's going to happen next in August and out through October, guess what? Stay where you are and subscribe to the channel. Hit the like button if the content works for you and turn on alerts so you know when we are going live. Rudy, first on the stream. Brother, always appreciate you supporting the channel. Always appreciate you. Okay, Dead Fred is here. Okay, Dead Fred says alts look okay. As long as we pull up from here, we will talk about it. All right. Now, as people are coming in, just to let you know, we started like roughly an hour earlier this morning, right? Just to try to get on the air with the market going lower, right? We want to get you what you need. Raj, Andre, Kim, Craig, Bill in the chopper. Okay, John, hi from Chicago, wrong again. We're all right on time. Hamilton, Ontario. What's happening? Luis with the notorious love. Appreciate that. Okay, now let's jump right into it. To state the obvious, from my Twitter, caption this. This is Get to the Chopper. This is something that I came up with as an Arnold Schwarzenegger meme during FTX last year. And every time I think this is going to go down, I think it's actually going to be worse in equities. We do a little Get to the Chopper meme, and I literally am bringing this up. You know, Steve, Lord Pleak, all these guys who always comment on my tweets. I really appreciate that. But I really had to give some love to this guy who captioned the picture as "War is full of hot people winning." I mean, that is probably one of the best things I have seen on my Twitter and comic relief that we desperately need today. Okay, Justin is here. Hello, 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 hello. Okay, let's go to the news. When tackling crypto, the SEC should be wary of overreach. Folks, you know what? This would have been a great article a year ago, but now that it's here, all that these guys have done is driven crypto into the arms of the people, right? Just like when the U.S. did sanctions against Russia, we drove everybody towards Putin's theory about trying to get off the dollar, right? Putin's on the phone with the Iranians, trying to get them to join the anti-dollar alliance, etc. All they do is make it worse for them, better for us. Inside the $222 billion clean technology project, boom. Okay? Now, just a little piece of information here I got from watching RFK. So this is a project where America is spending, $220 billion on clean technology. The United States has sent, 100 and something billion over to help the Ukrainians. To put those numbers in perspective, like the budget of, say, the Environmental Protection Agency in the United States is only $12 billion. So we're spending 10 times the budget of certain government agencies on various projects. And eventually that catches up with us. That's what's going on in the bond market. That's what's going on in the stock market. And that's bleeding over into crypto. Now let's talk macro. Federal Reserve signals more skepticism and need over further rate hikes. No, actually, let me tell you what they really said. What the Fed said was they need help fighting inflation. They need long-term interest rates to be higher. So if you've tuned into this stream wanting to know why is crypto down, thank you for sticking with us. Please continue to watch the show, but I'll give it to you very simply. Long-term interest rates are going up. ZB or TLT in the equity market, those are symbols for bond market products. When those products go down, rates go up. ZB, particularly that long bond futures contract, if you don't understand what that is, you just think of it like Thanos. Every time it goes down, every time it goes into red, it kind of destroys everything. right? It hurts it hurts stocks, and it can hurt crypto. And crypto is one of the first markets to go running for the hills, and that's what's happening. So in August, I said, get involved, see if you can stick with it. You can't, and the bond market has pulled the punch bowl. Now I'm going to show you some charts later on in the PowerPoint from a system that I used to use at Goldman. It's kind of a new version of an old system. There's something newer coming out, and I'm debuting it for you today, special on the market update to try to give you a roadmap for what's happening here in crypto and what's going to happen next. Okay. Meta's Twitter rival Unravels. Okay. So, the media is amazing. They want to make things heroic, and then they want to tear them down. I'm sure Threads is going to have a place, and I'm sure if you were there early and you carve out a niche, you'll be fine. But it's probably not Twitter. This is an example, however, of media hyperbole. If Threads was a stock, you would have had people buying the top, and now they're selling the bottom. Everything in the media is always wrong. Okay. Cybersecurity researchers are becoming targets of criminal hackers. I understand the U.S. administration was on the tape the other day offering rewards for anybody who could help keep our electrical grids safe from hackers using AI or keeping us safe from AI. Okay. Pegler says Solana holding well, considering. Solana is doing pretty good. My Twitter has a video that we did with my colleague Toby, just interrupting briefly. There is a link to a video here on Solana, okay, where we talked about Solana maybe having to do something a little bit more serious as a project in order to get people pumped up, right? And you also have to watch out for venture capital selling. So check that video out on my Twitter, okay? Pickelball is redefining retirement in the U.S. The game is sweeping across the nation. What does this have to do with crypto? This has everything to do with crypto. Why? Because they took the game of tennis and they reinvented it so that more people could participate. And they're going to do exactly the same thing with the monetary system. If older people can adopt this cool, trendy sport, they can adopt crypto. Don't believe me? Listen to that song, Rich Men North of Richmond. The United States asks Iran to stop selling drones to Russia. No doubt this is part of the deal to free up $6 billion of their oil revenue as Vladimir Putin is on the phone with the Iranians, trying to get them to join BRICS. That was released just as we got on the air. Just as we got on the air, okay? Putin plans meeting on Russian currency controls after the ruble has problems. So you had riots in France caused by economic disturbances, which I blamed on the ruble, okay? Dollar integrity has not come into question yet, although it should, but the integrity of our bond market is clearly under scrutiny. The ruble is the next fiat crisis, and the yen or the dollar will follow. This is constructive for crypto after they get done running in fear. Okay, global investors dump Chinese securities as state support hope fades. Okay, here's a radical notion I'm going to give you. If the media is right about something, okay, it's wrong. And Shizzy, don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. Okay. If the media is writing, oh my God, there's a crisis in China. There may be a crisis in China, but the crisis is always the thing that you can't see. Right? Like government begs institutions to not sell. When it's that choreographed, it sounds like they're just setting up to do helicopter money over there. If there's a problem with the system, it's U.S. credit cards, Capital One, and any related banks like Discover. Okay. Coinbase futures approval seen as a major win amid the war on crypto. Well, it may be a win, or it may be a mechanism that they approved because it'll allow institutions to get short crypto. Okay. who reside in the United States and don't want to use overseas exchanges. So yes, it's good. You know, markets are served by greater liquidity, but this, like the futures contract in 2017, brings in short sellers. Okay. Brings in short sellers. Okay. You know, TBA is talking about the property markets in China. Kim Craig is mentioning risk off. Yeah, there's definitely risk off over here. Right. But if there's a catastrophic problem, I'm just not totally sure it's China. I think it's more about our consumer. Okay. SEC delays Bitcoin ETF approval. Sometimes I think the whole Bitcoin ETF theater is nothing more than people setting up retail long Bitcoin, thinking there's going to be an ETF approval so they can hoover up all the Bitcoin on the disappointment trade. Literally, it's like it's choreographed. Okay. Right. Bitcoin is falling. Why panic or euphoria may disrupt the calm. It's amazing how a 3% decline gets Barron's attention, selling the news in SHIB. Okay. As SHIB goes down 10% on bridge issues. Okay. I suspect that this may be a buy. In other words, if you're looking for altcoins, if you've got like a buy list, SHIB may actually be on it if they smack it, particularly after this rally. The SHIB chart, you know, I can bring it up later, but you don't want to buy altcoins on green. But if they give you a 10 or 15% dip in some of these bigger coins, they're worth looking at. This could be one of them. Okay. Artificial intelligence trend is accelerating with the lion's share in the US. Okay. So 15% of companies quantified a revenue or cost benefit from applying machine learning in the first half of this year. So that's good. Question is that already priced in to stocks? And even if it's not priced into stocks, does the AI revolution hurt the Fed's ability to slow down the economy? Either way, Thanos, aka the bond market, is not going to be happy about this, right? And this, if it's in the media, it could possibly be, or definitely is, priced in. Okay. Again, Europe's first spot Bitcoin ETF opens in Holland, and the market sells the fact, right? 3 things Coinbase says will determine the future of crypto. Okay. One of the things that they're talking about is an independent nonprofit organization advocating for pro-crypto legislation. Let me tell you something about this election. It is already clear to politicians, based on what RFK has done, then 45th president of the United States is in a hurry to disclose his Ethereum holdings from the NFT. Probably one of the first ironic times that, you know, that president or any businessman is actually out publicly bragging about their income. It's kind of funny. Crypto is going to be a political issue. And don't make any mistake about it. If there's a decline in equities over the next 7 days, there are going to be people down there hoovering up crypto. So if you have to stop out of bad trades in order to free out capital, do so. Not investment advice. Okay. Bitcoin and gold aren't reacting well, right, with this Russian ruble issue. I suspect the Russian central bank or the Chinese may actually be selling gold. Okay. May actually be selling gold. Crypto investors can now trade XRP options on the Bit exchange. One of the big disappointment trades of this year is that the high for XRP may have been put in, and there's going to be a frustration trade where XRP Ledger has to save XRP. Okay. All right. Willimeter is here. Welcome. Okay. I like this. Rudy says, I'm the only person talking about what isn't happening on your television. I hope so. because it's not a good research report unless you've got something that's not on your television. If it's on your television, it's either wrong or untrue. You know, and the more I listen to Kennedy, frankly, you know, the more convinced I get that, you know, the extent of falsehoods on the part of the government is going to become common knowledge and not conspiracy theory, right? Libertarians, people in crypto, oh yeah, we're all crazy. Well, not anymore. And if you listen to rich men north of Richmond and your portfolio's down today, remember, the Star-Spangled Banner of crypto has been written. Now let's go to the roadmap. This is what you've been waiting for. Okay, this is the roadmap, I would say, for the end of the month and then say over the next 2 months. What is it going to be like in crypto? So this was done a couple days ago. It's playing out right as we speak. This orange line is the last 60 days of price action as of 2 days ago in Bitcoin. This blue line is a historical match to the present plus 60 days that follows. So it's like, here's 60 days of price action. Give me a match from the history of Bitcoin and show me what happens next. Okay, that's what the blue line is. It's the match plus what's next. And then the machine gives me what they call a correlation or just a percentage. So if it gives me a 40% match, I'm like, well, that's not really usable. But if it gives me an 89% match, then maybe I can do something with it. So what this shows in Bitcoin is, you know, chop, 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 down, right? This isn't catastrophic. It's only 28 to 24, base, and then back up again. So I don't know if this base takes the amount of time this says it does, but all the way down, sideways, and then all the way back up again seems to make sense to me. Just keep in mind that if you look at a long-term, what we call analog for Bitcoin, like this orange line is the last year of doing nothing, right? Which matches up with 2019. And we're so on the verge. We're so close. That's why these final washouts, I don't want you to take them too seriously. I want you to, you know, be mindful of the fact that there's going to be probably a bond crash followed by a stock crash, right? Short term, and crypto is going to get caught in that. But the big zoom out picture for Bitcoin is constructive. Now, ETH, same kind of thing about a final decline. And I think this is really telling about what ETH is going to look like. Routine Cheese is here. Welcome back. Robin is here. Happy to see you. Got on the air early. Alexandro, Lee, welcome. Right? All right. Now, let's talk about ETH. The orange line, the last 200 days of action in ETH. There is an 84% match showing that there will be like a final puke, which we're probably doing right now, right? A final decline, a base, all the way back up, and then all the way back down again. This, I believe, was DeFi summer, and then the DeFi crash that bottomed out right about here. Okay? So this could exactly be what happens in crypto, right? You could have a puke followed by a huge rally as people realize if equities go down, if bonds go down, if gold goes down and silver goes down, or if equities go down and bonds, silver, and gold don't go up, then the legacy mechanism for safety is broken. And the only way to express reality is crypto, to be followed by something weird happening off the solar eclipse, and then the market takes off. Okay, especially into the end of the year. So that's like, this is like the roadmap, right? Final puke, all the way up, all the way down, trend higher. Right? So crypto's done nothing, and everyone's used to it doing nothing, to the point where if it moves 2%, it's news. Well, I got news for you, folks. Volatility is about to come storming back because Thanos, aka the bond market, is loose, and the equity market is totally delusional. Totally delusional. Okay, here's XRP. So on the left, this is the 30-day pattern match showing XRP could slump for a month. Okay. But again, if you look at, say, a 60-day plan, even if there is a slump in XRP, it's still getting ready to go up. So this may help you in the sense of, oh, well, you know, based on history, if XRP grinds lower, it's really not the end of the world because it's actually setting up for a bigger move. Okay. And again, if you look at a 200-day period, XRP has got an 87% match with price action from 2019. So, you know, it can take a month. Probably the issue with XRP is discouragement. I would discourage you from being discouraged. Now, Avalanche, we can use this as a proxy for altcoins in general. Okay, this is a 100-day period. Looks like Avalanche does have one final heave left before this thing starts turning around. I definitely want to start looking at layer ones. I don't think we're in a world where Solana goes from $2 to $200 like 2021. But there are going to be investment opportunities because essentially layer ones, interoperability, you know, Rune, my closet, like casino, box of chocolates under the bed play has actually been rallying, which I can't believe. So interoperability, layer ones, they're going to be back, right? And the buying opportunity is close at hand. Now, S&P. So this is SPY. There's only the modern history of this because it's an ETF. So I don't get any readings back to say 1929 or 87, even though I think that that is possible. Okay. Because of what's going on in the bond market. This shows you could have one big puke in S&P that's rather robust, and then the rally can continue. So at a minimum, you're going to have this vertical puke down in stocks, which I haven't really seen yet. Okay. So, you know, if there's a dip showing in a massive bull market, you can bet it's going to happen. And then this 87.29 parallel, the 87 had bonds declining, rates rising, and stocks quietly rolling over around Labor Day. 1929 was a little bit different. That was an over-leveraged banking system where the banks owned stocks so that when stocks went down, all the banks were wiped out and there was no FDIC. In this particular case, it's kind of a hybrid twist. The Fed lets bond yields rise and ZB go down. Risk assets fall, and then there's a problem with U.S. credit cards because I think the credit card companies are the problem because it's not in the headlines. Now, let's talk about what can happen in equities. Okay, Alexandro is here. Welcome. Okay. I can't read this, but I'm going to put your comment up there because I appreciate it. Okay. Definitely appreciate everybody being here. Lee. Okay. Lee thinks Solana eats all the layer one's lunch. Okay. Toby is actually a big Solana fan and actually has a really interesting take on Solana on a video. It's on Unhinged Crypto YouTube, and there's a link on my Twitter. Back to VIX. So VIX is the index of fear in the stock market. There's a DeMark support point at 1563, which was retested twice this week. And just for giggles, the DeMark resistance point is at 47. So can VIX go higher in the last 2 weeks of August? That would be an unparalleled, borderline silly thing to say. Okay. Seriously. Okay. Ocho says, can't wait for notorious bloodbath TA. Okay. Malik is here. Welcome. Yes, we are in get to the chopper mode. I've been doing stuff on Twitter. And believe it or not, I'm not ashamed to say, get to the chopper NFTs and sheepdog NFTs. If anybody remembers me reading the prayer of the sheepdog, pleading with people to get out prior to last year's FTX debacle, those NFTs, courtesy of AI art, are coming soon one way or the other. Okay, VIX, a lot of upside in fear and equities. Now in crypto, in Bitcoin, look what we got here. Today's puke is a 13 bottom. Now a 13 bottom doesn't guarantee that a down move stops. So it can have 2-3 days based on this reading. There's a lot of support at 26,500, but you know, stocks are closer to a top and Bitcoin is closer to a bottom. Okay. Okay. Maybe says he appreciates the lesson on DeMark work from a few weeks ago. And Rudy says, I should read the prayer again. Okay. Well, we can definitely try to call that up, right, as we're sitting here on the market update. Now, let's go over the macro overview, or actually let's go to live TA. Okay, going to live TA right now. Okay, so Bitcoin, they know it's a 13 bottom. They're buying the dip. This is the daily chart. Now, I want to also talk about gold. Okay, this is GLD. It's down today. Whoops, share screen. Okay, no, not that share screen. This share screen. Okay. Gold is below support, and that is somewhat shocking. This feels like the Russians or somebody selling in the middle of a possible currency crisis. Now, I also wanted to look at bank stocks. Okay, Discovery Financial Group. Okay, the DeMark work goes 1, 2, 3, and you want to be putting trades on any counter trend balance on a DeMark 4. So if this is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, which it normally does at the start of a trend, you put the position on a 4. Okay, Capital One, another possible problem. One of the easiest credit cards to get in the United States. Okay, if Capital One goes, you can certainly expect other banks to follow. Now, let's talk about things like Litecoin, where they're actively running stops. So here is the support around 76. Litecoin breaks it, can't get back above it. Okay, there is support down here, but this is not the type of price action where you're like, oh yeah, let's buy the first dip. Okay, the same thing happened in Ethereum. I think it was a 90-minute chart maybe, or maybe it was a 4-hour chart. Okay, so this is what happened in Ethereum, and this is like Litecoin is here, right? So you had Ethereum break this point. You see this thing where it couldn't get back above it, boom, and then it goes down. Okay? You have to be careful. And again, this DeMark point was rather big. Okay, this is a 90-minute chart. So everybody who bought ETH above 1,800 is now underwater. And this is the recipe for a panic. Okay. Wrong again says it's really hard to keep Bitcoin underneath the 200 moving average. That makes sense. Okay. Rudy, not a big fan of Litecoin. I think one of the other things that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to start identifying in some of these coins where the buy points are. So for example, Cardano, I'm showing 23 cents. In other words, it's time to get out your pad. I talked about this previously. You want to get out a pad and you want to say to yourself, okay, you know, I had 1750 in ETH was my first point. And then I had something ridiculous down there after that, right? Something like 1350. Let me pull up ETH. Okay. So there's definitely a mixed bag when it comes to Ethereum, right? Kind of get to watch a technical analyst get a little bit torn up here. So this is a diamond formation in Ethereum. And it's not clear whether this is the diamond formation or whether it actually broke out of the bottom of the formation here. Okay. My guess was that ETH was going to do something like this, was that it was going to break through the bottom, puke, and then turn around and go back through the top. I know that's kind of bold, but 1750 is one level, and there was another level at 1632. These are the levels what I'm thinking about, because if you go back to that work from that chart system, that analog system I used to use when I was at Goldman, you're asking yourself, okay, they're running the stops, okay, they're taking everybody out in equities, right? Because if you look at bonds, right, this is Thanos, talked about this. Okay, so this is a 4-hour chart of bonds, right? If you use hidden pivot work, okay, the maximum downside target is 115. I'm pretty sure if you use perhaps this target, no, not that one. Okay, you're either looking at 117 or 115 for a downside target. When the Fed said it needed help or was skeptical, it needs help from the bond market. It needs help from the bond market. And the bond market is going to press until equities crack. Okay, Rudy reminding you to like and subscribe. Okay. All right. So Katzman's saying I've been quiet on AGIX. Right. And like so many people, right? Like so many people, I'm so disappointed in how, quote, my altcoin has done. Right. Like I really believed in this. Okay. So if I had to draw my quick support level, it's 18 cents. Okay. Let's go to DeMark work in AGIX. You know, I'm so in a state where I'm just sort of wondering, like I said, how long it's going to take for people to get into decentralized AI. Now, again, like Bitcoin, you have a 9 bottom, trend pauses and continues. Yesterday's puke was a 13 bottom, and there's a ton of support at 18 cents, 8.186. You know, AGIX, buy or sell here. You know, I would not be puking it above support. I would actually let them run the stops and see what happens over the next week. I just have such a hard time, you know, such a hard time buying into this equities AI up only, and the decentralized universe just gets left sort of on the curb. Okay. And Rudy's right. Everything does suck right now. And Tina Lee is here. Welcome. Okay. Let's also take a look at XRP. I'm sure Megan will watch the show later. We want to make sure Megan is covered. Okay, so 4-hour chart of XRP, right? A 9 bottom here, but it didn't stop, so it's continuing. I'm guessing you got 4 to 5 more hours of downside in XRP, probably 5 days. People are asking, like, you know, when is this going to end? Now, the good news is in XRP is that you've got a horizontal line right here. You've got a lot of support between 53 and 56 cents. So XRP is 5 days away from a bottom. It's on support. I think the most important thing is they're going to run the stops. Don't get stopped out. Don't get discouraged. Don't. Okay. Katzman believes AGIX has some legs. Let's hope so. Let's hope so. Now, I want to go over here. I want to take a look at Solana on DeMark. So Solana has been just so strong, right? Really, honestly, liking Solana. There's a ton of support at 22. So if Solana doesn't break 22, you might be able to conclude that the big venture capital sellers are not out there. If Solana breaks 22, I think you have to be careful. Generally speaking, our conclusion for Solana is that the project is going to have to come out with some sort of positive catalyst to really get it going, particularly since there's been a lot of strong outperformance. That said, okay, it's the bigger the base, the higher in the space for this and just about every other altcoin, right? You know, as you look at it, you're like, oh, is it 20? Is it 22? Yeah, who cares, right? It's just nothing is happening. It's the bigger the base, the higher in the space. Question is, you know, is higher into space 80, 110? You know, that's probably next year. The key is not to get washed out because there is somebody waiting down there for your crypto, right? The problem, I believe, is with bonds and stocks. And this is a stop fishing exercise over the next 7 days in crypto. Okay. Okay. Ocho is trading. Dead Fred is here. Welcome. Hit long-term support trend line in Bitcoin. Okay. So let's go back to Bitcoin on DeMark. Actually, let's go to hidden pivot in Bitcoin. See if we can discern anything. This is like the part of the show where essentially, you know, if you like it, comment down below, where you essentially get to watch me do this, you know, just essentially try to figure out the market live. Like as if I was sitting here working on charts myself. Okay. So it looks like, you know, the first pass, you know, the most important support point for Bitcoin is 26.9. So if they ran all the stops, that's where they would take it down to. This is Bitcoin on an 89-minute chart. It's probably a world of hurt for alts if that's the case. Now, if we kind of zoom in, I'm wondering what we would get here. Okay, so that didn't work. Okay, so what you're watching me do is try to find bottoms, and I can't find one, not using that method. But again, going back to Bitcoin, you do have this DeMark 13 bottom. And what 13 bottoms give you in Bitcoin is a signal that the next puke could be the last puke. Okay. Okay. Ocho wants an old Wall Street war story at the end. Bull Runner is here. All right. So here's a Wall Street war story. Let's go to the bond chart. So once upon a time, there was this guy in the very formal days of Wall Street. His nickname was Rocket. Now in crypto, you know, everybody has a nickname, so you think nothing of it. But back then, if your nickname was Rocket and they let you have it on your business card, then you were a legend. Okay. This is bonds. Now, one of the things that Rocket told me was that in 1987, he knew that the stock market was going to crash and you should buy bonds. But bonds were crashing so badly that literally every time you tried to buy them, you just got stopped out. You could not buy the market at the exact moment where you needed to be long it for like life-changing money, permanent, forever bottom. It's one of the best stories ever. And Rocket doesn't know this. Rocket, I don't think, watches the show. I don't think he's a YouTube guy. But when I think about this chart, that's a simple triangle. And your triangle, you travel the distance of the width from the point of the breakdown. And that is a target of 116.19. And my guess on how this bond market works is bonds go down, down, down. They hit some kind of technical target and they go straight back up. Now, what makes bonds go up? Well, it's when stocks go down. And the second bonds stop going down, even if it's on a stock market decline, that is the dawn of a new day in crypto. In the meantime, they are just washing you out and stopping you out. Now, Malik is asking back to DeMark, okay, so a 13 means one more potential leg down, which will be our last. So that's a good question. So let's talk about a little bit more granular about what this 13 signal means. This system was developed by a guy named Tom DeMark in the 80s with a floor full of computer programmers. Okay, a floor as in a floor of a skyscraper, to help giant hedge funds move in and out of commodity markets that were incredibly illiquid, like altcoins today. So in this system, when you would get to 11, 12, or when you would see the 13, like in this case, it would be a bottom. That's where the hedge fund would start buying. Because the 13 is like the signal that, okay, bottom is coming. Now, can there be 9 more down days, 3 more down days? Yes. A lot of times you can get a 13 and a 9. See how you have the 13 here and the green 6? Okay. That could very possibly mean that you got 3 more down days in Bitcoin. So you'd have like the 13 signal and the 9. The 13 signal is something like, hey, look for a bottom. Then you're going to need confirmation. You're going to need an end to the bond puke, right? You're going to need, the decline in equities to be done. Like, what does a decline in equities done look like? Well, that's a good question. Let me tell you. Okay, stay with me. I want to show you NASDAQ 100. Okay, so first of all, this is the trajectory up in tech stocks. So Bitcoin has done nothing while this has done nothing but go up. The future of money, no one is interested, but AI gives you a 10% improvement in costs and they moon the market. Okay, when you have a head and shoulders top, okay, you have that is your target. So you're probably looking at another, say, 2% down in stocks, which for them can be a lot. So if you have 2% down in stocks, you have 4% down in Bitcoin, say, that's your bottom, right? You want stocks and bonds to bounce and then move into crypto for a chunky rally as people start realizing that, the credit card delinquencies, the problems that are not in the news media are the actual problems. So Flash Gann is here. Welcome. Okay. Ocho can't believe how well Rune is holding up. I'm too scared to talk about it. I don't want to jinx it. And I don't want to not take my own advice and buy green. Okay. Wrapping this up. The Fed needs long-term interest rates higher. That's going to affect stocks. Stocks need to be affected. Okay, the Fed wants that. Crypto is running in fear of that. Crypto always runs away first. Crypto will probably have one final puke or is in the midst of one final puke before crypto is a rally headed into September. Whatever problems there are in legacy, you're going to see it in bank stocks, Discovery Financial, Capital One, and credit cards. The second you see all this, okay, it's long crypto, short the banks. If you've got to get out of bad trades to free up capital, if you got involved, it didn't work, it happened to me, don't worry about it. You want to be there for the big trade. Okay, that's it for the market update. I will see you next week.